Kevin Williams and Bob Batters from the Shore Sports Network getting you set for Week 8 of the high school football season in the Shore Conference. For all intents and purposes, the next to last week of the so-called regular season. And Bob, let's start with a rematch of a game played last December, a big one involving Manalapan.
Yeah, definitely a rematch. First of all, the fact that we're on Week 8 is insane. By the way, I feel like it was the summer, 100 degrees out, running around trying to get all these previews done. But, right, Manalapan hosts Piscataway on Friday night. They played twice last year, once in the regular season, which Manalapan won, again in the Central Group 5 final, which Piscataway won. So this is a big-time matchup, certainly a rematch of a state championship game last season. These two teams are rivals in a way, too. Like, they've played in the postseason. Manalapan's really not that far from Middlesex County if you take that drive up near towards Rutgers. And again, it's just one of those games where you have two big Group 5 schools. Piscataway only one loss on the season. And this should be a big test for Manalapan. Not only just to win against a quality team, but, this is a team that they lost to in a game where, they already beaten them last season. A lot of people penciled Manalapan in. Okay, they're going to go. They're going to win. They're going to go 12-0. Instead, Piscataway spoiled their season. A great season last year for Manalapan, but you got to imagine that those players, and even the coaching staff, they won't admit it, but to get a crack here at Piscataway, who they won't see in the playoffs because Piscataway's changed brackets. So this is the game they have a chance to try to get some revenge.
All right, Naeem Mayfield has put up ridiculous numbers, video game numbers, but you have to think there'll be a little bit of a way to maybe slow him down a bit this Friday.
I agree with that. Even in the two games last year, the first game, Mayfield had a great game. Even the state final, Manalapan didn't win, but Mayfield played really well. He was easily their best player. 313 yards and 5 touchdowns on 9 carries last week. That'll raise some eyebrows. He's got over 1,700 yards and 29 touchdowns this season. To say he'll be the focal point of Piscataway head coach Dan Higgins and their defense, their game plan this week, I think is a slight understatement. So we'll see. If they can slow Mayfield down just enough where he's not running wild, Manalapan's going to have to go to the air, but they have a very capable quarterback in Lou Corcione, 2 very good wideouts in Samir Blacknall and Scott Scherzer, and some good tight end play. Alex Claro and Dale Sikowski really played well. So Manalapan has the weapons. If Mayfield gets slowed down, it's just a matter of those guys proving it and making plays.
A little revenge certainly for the Braves. That last loss in December stings a lot and is made for a miserable offseason. And another Shore versus Middlesex County game, Brick Memorial, home against South Brunswick. Kind of an interesting matchup.
Yeah, this is another big game here. South Brunswick is probably looked at right now as the main challenger to Manalapan in Central Group 5. Brick Memorial right now looking to lock up that top seed in Central Group 4. If they can win over South Brunswick, they'll probably do that. And the Mustangs have really just been playing good football lately, getting better and better each week. A big win, 55-28 over Southern last week, 6 in a row for the Mustangs. Tony Thorpe has been the constant presence, their senior fullback, over 1,000 yards. Blaine Netterman has done the job as the halfback on the pitches. But the quarterback, junior Tyler Sindel, has really come on. He's gone from a game manager to now he's starting to make more plays. A career day last week, 5 touchdowns, 3 passing, 2 rushing. So if Brick Memorial is going to have that going for them, along with a defense that has really been consistent, playing well, allowing under 200 yards a game, the Mustangs, you got to like the chances in this game. Of course, South Brunswick led by great Penn State recruit Justin Shorter. Yeah. So Kevin will probably be rooting for Shorter, but wanting to Brick Memorial to win that game. So that's a big test for the Mustangs. I'll be at that one on Friday night. And again, if Brick Memorial wins that game, they already have the win over Sayreville that opened eyes. You beat South Brunswick, another state title contender, and certainly you got to look at the Mustangs rolling into the playoffs.
Our Jersey Mike's game of the week will take us to Brick as well, as the Green Dragons will host Central. And let's call it what it is. It's a Class A South elimination game. The loser is pretty much out of the division race. The winner stays tied technically with Brick Memorial and has a good shot of at least grabbing a piece of the A South crown.
Certainly, and this is a game where you look at Central coming off a 23-0 win over Colts Neck. The sophomore running back, Kayvon Chambers, again, has been a constant this season. He's got over 1,100 yards rushing. It seems like every week he's running for 150, almost 200 yards. Last week, quarterback Joe Fowler, their junior, had his best game of the season. Central struggled passing the ball last week, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. They're never going to throw the ball a lot. They want their quarterback to manage the game, make the plays when they're there. He did that. That's got to be a great sign for them. On the flip side, Brick's offense has really struggled since junior quarterback Jimmy Leblow went down with an injury. Who knows if he'll be back this season? Doesn't look like it as of right now. They've kind of rotated with sophomore Anthony Prado and Cole Groeschel, the junior. It just really hasn't worked out. Brick's defense has still been playing solid, but they just have really struggled to score points, especially in the last couple weeks. A 27-7 loss to Lakewood last week. So Brick, for them, it's key. Can you get off to a good start? Because you fall behind. The Dragons, as they're built now, not really ready to come back and mount an offensive performance to win a game like that. So as you said, it's a big one because Brick Morrill's sitting there with that one loss. Both Central and Brick have one loss in the division. Now, whoever wins this game can at least hold off some hope because Brick Morrill has that final division game with Jackson, who's playing well.
And speaking of Jackson, they've got an interesting game. Here goes another one of those out of shore conference games. Jackson against Old Bridge. That's a pretty good matchup.
Absolutely, and Old Bridge is the team that handed Piscataway its only loss of the season. So you look at that GMC, that red division there with the big Group 4 and Group 5 schools, and that's been very competitive as well. Jackson, its offense doesn't blow you away with the numbers and the amount of points they're scoring, but they're getting the job done. I mean, Leo Shimonovich is running the ball well. AJ Tomaszewicz has thrown the ball well over the last couple weeks. Matt Diamore with a big game last week over Tom Zarice. But the story has really been the Jaguars' defense. Yeah. And they're holding opponents to under 10 points a game, around 8 points a game after last week's win. Joe Hurley, known as a really good offensive lineman, certainly one of the best in the shore, has quietly had a really good year defensively.
Yeah.
Then you look at John Jigna in the secondary. Their junior free safeties played really well. Chance Benjamin, another junior, a great sophomore, Colin McCarthy. That's just to name a few. Justin Martin-Coulee in the middle. They've got a lot of guys contributing to kind of a classic Jackson defense. They're not giving you much. They're turning the ball over as well, and they're making it really hard for teams to score on them. That's taking a lot of pressure off of their offense too. Just kind of go about their business. And Jackson 5-2. I think a surprise probably to a lot of people. Again, another team improving every week. And again, if they can get one against Old Bridge, a Group 5 team with a lot of wins, that's certainly going to bolster their playoff chances.
Let's touch quickly on two Monmouth County versus Monmouth County games. We'll start with Long Branch at Middletown North. A really big game on Friday night.
Yeah, both these teams in Central is a Group 4. Long Branch looking good right now, just with that one loss, sitting at 5-1. Middletown North has played a very good schedule. They're 3-3. Those 3 losses have come to Red Bank Catholic, Howell, and then last week to Manasquan, who's right there knocking on the door of the top 10. Not bad losses, but the PowerPoint format doesn't care how good or bad your losses are. Middletown North now, in really a stacked Central Group 4, is on the outside looking in. You figure if they win over Long Branch, a 5-win team right now, who's going to have a good PowerPoint resume themselves, figure that can get them in. A loss there, probably going to be sweating out. They should win their 8th game, but you don't want to be 4-4 at the cutoff. No one ever feels good about that, trying to get into the postseason.
And a surprising top 10 matchup, at least certainly if I told you in September you'd say I'm crazy, but Monmouth Regional having a great season visiting Rumson Fairhaven.
Yeah, Monmouth gets back into the top 10 this week, ironically off a bye. Falcons didn't even play that week, but it's kind of been a revolving door at number 10 in our Jeep Store rankings. A lot of teams probably can make a claim for that. We go with the Falcons this week. Monmouth 6-1. Again, a very surprising year. That only loss is to Point Borough, which is undefeated and ranked number 8 in our top 10. This is the biggest test by far of the season so far. The Falcons knew it. I mean, the schedule, got to be honest, favorable to start the season. They close it, though, with the degree of difficulty really ramped up. Number 3, Rumson. We jumped Rumson up 2 spots to number 3. So Monmouth goes into Borden Stadium on Friday night. Can they slow down Peter Lucas? No one's been able to do that so far. The defense, though, under Charlie Diskin has been very good. That's really been the thing that has driven Monmouth so far this season. They're going to have to stop one of the Shore's best running backs to do so.
And, of course, the Civil War matchup. Toms River North has dominated Toms River South in the past decade. They both come in with just 1 win. So this is clearly a matter of playing for pride. Although, believe it or not, South has an outside shot to make the playoffs with the 1 win. Somebody's got to win this game.
You're right. Somebody has. And, at least in the recent past, this is the first time I can remember neither team having a really good season. Certainly it's been Toms River North dominating lately. Toms River North has been the better team recently, but even you go back a few years when Toms River North was just starting off, Mike Husney, freshman, sophomore, they were struggling. South was really good. They had the teams with Tymere Berry. They were a state title contender. This year, as you said, both teams with 1 win. The Civil War doesn't have the luster surrounding it that it usually does, but again, it's Toms River North versus Toms River South. The stands will be packed, and and someone's got to get a win there. And those teams will be fired up to get that win. And Toms River South, as we were talking before, ironically, still in the playoff picture in South Jersey Group 4, which is kind of bonkers to me, but that's where they are. So, you know the Indians will be fired up knowing, hey, not only can they beat their rival, but you take out a Group 5 school and definitely give yourselves a good chance to get into the playoffs.
Now, who do we like in these games? Well, you have to check out the Atlantic Physical Therapy Center Football Picks. We do it every week. Our special guest picker this week, former Southern, Penn State, and Arizona Cardinal linebacker, Glenn Carson. See how he does. Check it all out. Bob and I back next week to wrap up the final week of the regular season. It is crazy. For the Shore Sports Network, Kevin Williams and Bob Batters, have a great football weekend.